Hi all, it's just Matt back. We've decided to jump back into the harness front. Had a couple actually asked me when I was going to start doing harness previews again, so good to see there's a couple of sickos out there like me who like their Tassie Trots fix on Sundays. I just thought with the Easter Cup meeting, the final on Easter Sunday next week, got the two preludes, or I think actually heats this year. Are they? I have actually got enough runners for heats this year. Past couple of years have been preludes because... Anyway, we'll sneak into it. The first race for 2-year-olds does look a pretty thin race. Just before I do start, I will say, I always, when I do these, I say it's virtually pointless doing it before markets are out, but I'm just going to be a bit time poor tonight, and with gallops on tomorrow, I probably won't have too much of a chance, but I'd like to think I've got a pretty good gauge of what the markets will be, so I'll do a bit of a guesstimate of what the probable price will be and bet around that. So in race 1 for the 2-year-olds, I think we've got two clear standouts here in the form of Lightning Jash and Mucho Mover. I'll start with Mucho Mover. He's definitely been the most impressive trialer of the Tasmanian 2-year-olds this year. Very well at Carrick. With Lightning Jash, I just looked at its trial there the other day and I thought, oh yeah, it's gone good. And then the time flashed up and I thought, wowzers. They went 158, home in 56.4, and I think the horse that beat it's a serious horse. Might actually have a look at that. Where are we? States, Victoria. I'll open it in a new tab. Trial replays. And Tabcorp Park it was at. I think it was last week. I can see here, watched. Obviously, it's only one I've watched, so.
And the 2-year-olds are getting close to it.
Actually, I tell you, the winner of this trial looks a serious horse, don't worry. So here's Lightning Jash just dropped into third on the inside. Just like the turn of speed it shows down the back straight here. Sort of pulls out, chases the leader. You know, that acceleration's visually impressive as well, especially when we look at the times later on. Like, obviously the winner just looks like he's just playing around a bit. And as I mentioned, I think it's going to be a seriously good horse, this thing. So it sticks to its guns quite well. Like, it doesn't look overly flash when you just look at it here, and then you just see the times flash up here once they go over the line, and I'll wait for them to zoom in on the actual semaphore board here. Here we get a better guide of it. There we go. So 27.4 home. It's at 56.5 last half, 158 overall. So good times for 2-year-olds. If it goes anywhere near that, it goes without saying they'll be winning. They'll definitely be the only two in single figures in the race. With the pole coming out, Rock and Roll Wizard draws to obviously follow the fence through. They ran second, third and fourth in the same race the other day with virtually a head between them, and they probably went as well as each other, if truth be told, so nothing between them. And a couple of the old first starters here, drawn awkwardly and haven't trialled locally, but does look a dead set 2-horse race, and I think the prices are a bit generous here. You'd imagine Lightning Jash starts with a 1. Anyway, there's a race 1, not too much value there. The second is a tough one with with the preferential draw, all the favoured chances out the back. You've got Stepping Stones coming through the Oaks, as with Most Perfect Major, and Written in Silk ran in the Prelude. It was actually disappointing. Written in Silk in the Prelude got tired, but obviously did trial well prior and may well find its way to the front here, but just tad concerned the way it did stop first up, but not ruling out completely. taking the goal. It's been very good in both Tasmanian starts. Has had good draws though, sort of set leaders back first up and then used its gate speed second up. Obviously 13's a different kettle of fish, but still well in. Bit of Scotty is in the same race last time. I think taking the goal went better, but Scotty's just very dour. You know what you're going to get. Just a tough race this. Kenny's Killer, well backed on Tasmanian debut and paced as if he'd never had hobbles on before. Didn't troll too badly at Carrick. Still went rough again. Lavorne's been going good. Top, I've got probably taking the gold on top, but I don't back horses drawn 13 unless I think they're a real good thing, and it's certainly not that. So probably give that race a wide berth. Can't recommend anything there. The third, first three got Sharmy, came through the Derby, and then won subsequently in probably a bit weaker grade last time. But the one thing with Sharmy, even though he's drawn well, he's never been used out of the gate, so I don't expect him to go charging to the front. Got a few on the back here. Tarlett and Riley, always dangerous with the right run. Lord Stark does look well graded here with the claim. Obviously not an ideal draw, and Black Ops won a similar race recently, and Rock and Feel Good ditto. The one I actually like here though is Chiavino Stride. The problem with Chiavino Stride is that there's probably 5 or 6 horses in this race that are quicker than him, but he's going to, I reckon there's a fair chance he finds, can't even speak, finds his way to the top here, and he just keeps whacking away at the same speed. If we just have a look at his last run, where he raced 3. So he drew at barrier 7 from memory. And I think they went 41.7 the lead time here. And just for those not in the know, that's about 2 seconds quicker than average. And he has an absolute gut buster. And he was like $41 this day. You know, just obviously show starts of races, they're not too, as a rule, not too much in. And I just want to point out how much work he does here early. And then they ran 60 the first half after this. So he's still 3 deep, running about 5th. So it takes off here. As I said, I just think he'll find his way to the front tonight. I want to say tonight, it's Sunday night obviously. And power of work in fast sectionals, and we just go to the end of the race, so he's found his way to the front. So a few of these going up and down that kicked up early. Yeah, he had every right to get beaten 100 metres this day, so. You know, still whacking away, so. You know, still talking about, so whilst if one of the others gets an ideal run, there's a fair chance they may do him for speed late, but probably going to be copying $6. And if you have more place than win, if he finds the front, it's hard to see him not running a drum. Gareth on, yeah, so anything above $6, so 6, about 6 and 2, it's on a 1x3 basis. I think well worth a bet. Chiavino Stride in race number 3. The fourth, first heat of the Easter Cup, we've got Willie Go West, started odds on favourite in the Tasmania Cup and galloped out. We've got the horses who actually ran 2nd, 3rd and 4th in the Tasmania Cup here in the Shallows, Lip Breeder and Earl Jujon. One thing I will say about the Tasmania Cup, it was very funnily run. They ran the first half a lot quicker than the second half, and that generally makes for very suspect form references. El Jujon did come in and bolt in his next start in much weaker grade. But I just think Willie Go West, clearly the one to beat here. Scooter Rev's the big query, obviously. First up for long break over 2,700, did trial very well. I think I pointed out before what his record is when he manages to lead in races. And to be honest, we took Willie Go West out of this, and this was a normal Sunday night stand-start race in Tasmania, he'd be favourite. If he was off the front and Lip Breeder in the shallows off 10 metres, even first up, he would be favourite. So, the one thing here, like, I can't back Willie Go West at short odds after galloping out last time. It's just the risk reward's just not worth it. Scooter did trial well at Devonport. If he finds the front, if you look here, there's very few horses who wouldn't hand up to him. Even like Full Speed Ahead generally likes to lead. He led and it run over in a claim the other day. So imagine if he found the front, he'd hand up as well. So probably if you get on even like a fave out market, some agencies bet those type of bets back into run second. I don't think you can beat Willie Go West if equal playing fields, but I do think Scooter, I know sort of how much they like the horse. They wouldn't be running him unless he was at a certain level that he was going to perform. So happy to have Scooter as second pick there. And if you get that type of price, even just a small each way for an interest. The fifth is for the lower graded paces, the 30 to 49s. Not too much form, which is generally the rule for these type of races. Tobzavsky actually did a bit of work and boxed on quite well the other day. The times weren't overly flash, but imagine it holds up here. Not a ton of speed outside, if buts and maybes can begin okay. But you'd imagine it sort of holds the front. The few, always a stride, Major Davin, a Dow, one paces, Princely Rain, Denstown, a danger if they get the right run. The one here that I think's got a decent chance though is Det to Apart. He is a tad allergic to winning. What is his overall record? 53 starts, 4 wins, 15 placings. But being competitive in much tougher races than this, he'll sit outside Tobzavsky and just keeps whacking away. I just think in a pretty even affair, something each way, Det to Apart in race 5. The 6th is the second heat of the Easter Cup. A lot more open here. You've got our Princess Tiffany off 30, Riley Major off 20. Obviously, they're the two with the performance, the runs on the board. Tiffany beat up on a pretty average bunch of mares. She was just a different gravy to them the other day. And Riley went okay in Victoria. Fair to say he didn't sort of set the world on fire, but he still didn't run badly. The one thing about Riley is he flies the stand, and if you look here, there's not... you've got queries over how will Jaffa Josh handle the stand. Blackbird Power's very hit or miss. Paddy would probably take a sit after getting carved up in the Tassie Cup. As I mentioned, the early sectionals, he was actually the horse that led, and he was second up from a long break. And Yorkshire's obviously a query. Legal Immigrant first up, he'll be driven cold. And Isaiah, never far away, but needs the right run. Actually, I'm just thinking there, I can't think of the last time I backed Riley Major. I reckon it'd be going on 2 years, I reckon, since I've actually backed him. Actually warming a little bit to him here. Back, getting some home cooking back in his belly. Flies the stand. I reckon there's half a chance he finds the front here if begins as he normally does. And just think he'd definitely give Tiffany something to chase if that was the case. Blackbird Power was actually super the other day. might be one for the in-play backers. It's a fair chance he misses at 100 metres as well, just with his stand-start manners. But if he happens to go away and ping to the front, may well be worth having an in-play bet on Blackbird Power, because occasionally he does ping the start, but it's about once every 5 times. But with only 5 off the front, he's outside the front. There's half a chance that it might be the night. So just don't rule him out completely, Blackbird Power, but I might sort of reintroduce myself to Riley Major from a betting perspective in race 6. Race 7, another one of these very even races with no real standout. MJ's Black Chip won a heat of the Lady Drivers Championships last week that was very truly run and suited him down to the ground. He doesn't have great change-up speed, but he does keep going. Not sure this will be run at the same tempo. Even though is a bit of speed out wide. You have Shady Story, Juniper's got gate speed, and Crowder Cruise, I imagine they try and set a light from 7. Guys Better Bet's actually emergency here. Actually had something on him in a much tougher race the other day. If he happens to sneak into the field, just trying to think if any stablemates will get scratched for him. But yeah, I just think he's each way chance. So haven't got any real opinion in the race, but if Guys Better Bet sneaks into the field, I'll probably have something on him. So I'll make him the tip in race 7, even though he is the emergency there at the moment. The 8th repeats the trend for the night. These horses here tend to take it in turns a little bit. They tend to mix form and never too much between them, and as evidenced by the market here. If he's the one drew a barrier, I definitely have something on him. He's actually going super, but he's going to have to go back to last, and it's hard to see him circling all of these. Bonacci, there's some horses who haven't been far away in free-for-all grade here. Buster William is a bit allergic to winning, but he's going to get a good trip. So if I'm gun to my head, forced to pick one, I'd say Buster William each way in race 8. And in the last, we've got the 50 to 59 raters. Speed map wise, you'd imagine Border Crosses, as you can see with its recent numerical form, it's gone like a busted, but you'd imagine it still holds the front. You've got Rockin' a Hard Place, who goes forward and likes to hold the death. Life's a Jungle was actually driven like smoking up last time, and did tire. And so you mentioned a bit of speed here, but Indiana Dreaming drops in grade. Her last start was actually in the George Johnson, and I thought she went quite well. Like, she's a 59 raider, taking on the likes of our Princess Tiffany, 59 raider in a feature mares race, but that's the way things roll in Tassie. So she's been like 50 to 1 the last 5 or 6 starts. Since she got used out of the gate and grabs hold, sits 1-1, but and she's keeping up here. Like, you've got Lockaway Casey back on the inside, beats her home. It's still hung over. There's a few other horses in this race that will point it finished way at. I'm not too fast, got beaten 50 metres. Princess Tiffany they're chasing, and she's a 59 raider. So here she is here. She boxed on okay, like it's pointless watching the rest of that. But if we just go and have a look at the actual result of that race. Yeah, Rockin' Feel Good came out and won its next start. Lockaway Casey, as we said, she's super honest in sort of almost free-for-all grade, just that notch below. Blame It On Me had very good form going in. Aussie Rock ran well at Devonport at its 2 subsequent runs, and Kavef Hustlers come out and won 2 in a row since. So despite being a pretty average form race, it is actually not the worst. When I say pretty average form, we had some horses in the race with pretty average form. They got beaten a long way. We've had horses here beaten 50 plus metres, and its form's actually stood up. I'd imagine Border Cross holds the front, so Indiana Dream will probably rail through and hold the back of the leader. I can still bloody remember, what was the horse at Todd Rattray's? Feel the Burn. I had a max bet on it at $5 one night in Hobart. Found the front. I thought it was home for all the money in the world. Indiana Dreaming at about $34. Sprint laned it to beat it, so it owes me. So what price is it in the previous? $10. I reckon it'll be single digits, but just maps well to get the right run. As I said, it can mix its form, but it's been going around in sort of 65 grade, back to 50 to 59, draws to follow the leader. Went well last time in a fast run race. So happy to have something each way, Indiana Dreaming in the last. So just confirming then, I'm not overly keen on any 6 to 4 pop. I think if you play exotics in race 1 with 2 and 3 to run, 1, 2 with 4, 5, 8 for third, you'll probably get something. The second, no opinion there whatsoever, to be honest. Getting splintered sitting on the fence. Curvino Stride, more place than win in race 3. The fourth, I think Scooter is best of the locals. In the fifth, Dead to Part. Just think he's probably a safe-ish each way bet. I'd be surprised if he runs worse than fourth in that race anyway, and you're probably going to get each way odds. So race 5, number 5, Debt Till We Part. Race 6, not going to have a big bet on Riley, going to have something on, I reckon. And we'll throw coins Blackbird Power, and if it happens to ping away, it becomes a definite in-play commodity. The 7th, if guys better bet sneaks in, I'll have something on him there. The 8th, he's Lockaway Casey, as we said, pointed out in that last replay that I showed of Indiana Dreaming. Indiana Dreaming beat Lockaway Casey home. Lockaway Casey's $14 in a 65 to 79 rated race, and she's in a 50 to 59. So Buster Williams, small each way, no confidence in that race at all, and Indiana Dreaming in the last each way. So the three, as you can probably tell, that I'm most confident on, to be the bigger bets, are Curvino Stride race 3, Debt to Part race 5, and Indiana in the last. So no shorties, but nobody wants to watch any tipster throwing out even money pops. Anybody who wants to back those type of priced horses generally does their own form of having enough on to worry about it. So, but I just think they're the three to have something on, and I'd be surprised if all three don't run well. So might have one of those days they'll run fourth and we do the proverbial, but only need one of them to lob and the night's paid for. And if a couple run a hole and you've had more place than win, then you're on the right side of the ledger as well. So anyway, guys, not too much of a preview. I said not declaring anything, pretty much getting splinters in a few races, so apologies for that. Should always have an opinion, but you know what they say about opinions. So we will wrap it up there. Next week we'll try and do something a bit more in depth for the actual Easter Cup final itself. So it is, the Easter Cup has probably in the last few years turned out to be Tasmania's premier race, if truth be told. It's not a silly north-south argument thing. For anybody not familiar, Tasmania has very much an intrastate rivalry. If one end of the state gets stuck, the other end's got to have it, and etc. But it's like Sydney v New South Wales, Queensland state of origin times 10, to be honest. But anyway, I just think the secret with it is that everybody knows when it is. The Easter Cup, it's Easter Sunday every year, whereas Tasmania Cup, seems to have changed the date for about the past 5 or 6 years running. Nobody's got any idea where it is, when it is. Yeah, so that seems to be a bit of a tick box with a lot of feature races around the country. Everybody, if people know when they are, it's one thing you don't have to worry about when trying to attract runners and when trainers want to circle a race on the calendar, etc. So anyway, I'm stuttered my way through that. Wasn't the most verbally pleasing, I wouldn't imagine. So anyway, guys, if you've managed to tolerate that, you're probably braver soul than me. But anyway, let's hope we managed to lob on one or two. And until next time, I will pop up a Gallops one in the morning as well. But until then, I'll leave you with it. Cheers.